Before the 2024 Prague Pro, I made a Photoshop prediction for open bodybuilding CBum, enhancing his classic physique to envision how he might look in the open category. In this video, we are comparing that prediction to CBum's actual look in Prague to see how close I got. On the left is Bumstead at the 2024 Mr. Olympia in classic physique, and on the right is his open division version from the 2024 Prague Pro. For my Photoshop prediction, I used CBum's 2023 Olympia Classic look since he hit all the open division mandatories during his individual routine last year. This was my predicted version of CBum in open bodybuilding. As we can see, I was close but probably a bit too optimistic about what he could achieve after just a 5-week open prep. My photoshopped version looks more muscular than his actual look. Speaking of that, I also made a separate video where I imagined CBum after a full off-season for open bodybuilding. I even removed the deep vacuum and gave him a more open-suited hairstyle. If you enjoy unique videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I'm aiming for 30k subscribers by the end of the year. We are currently at 27.5k. Next is the front lat spread. In the center is CBum's Prague Pro look, on the left is my photoshopped prediction for Prague Pro, and on the right is my photoshopped prediction after a full open division off-season, which, for simplicity, I'll call my CBum 2025 Mr. Olympia prediction or simply Mass Monster CBum. And yes, I'm not gonna use his bald head anymore for that prediction. Comparing my Prague prediction to his actual Prague Pro look, I once again overestimated his potential after just a few weeks of prep, as my prediction looks better. My version appears fuller overall, especially in the lower body, and retains the classic physique division cuts and separation, which he naturally lost when coming in fuller on stage. As for the Mass Monster CBum, that's on a whole other level, bigger and fuller across the board. Still, I believe he could achieve such a look if he were to pursue open bodybuilding seriously. Next is the side chest pose, and yes, I overestimated his potential in my prediction. However, I was aware he couldn't achieve too much in such a short time, but still wanted to present a best case scenario, one where he could actually win the Prague Pro. Honestly, I believe my photoshopped Prague Pro version would have defeated Martin Fitzwater in Prague. As for the Mass Monster CBum on the right, that would arguably be the best side chest pose of all time. It's an exaggerated, enhanced version of classic division Bumstead, who's already incredibly strong in that pose. Next is the back double biceps, and yes, it definitely looks like I over-edited him in my Prague Pro prediction. However, I don't think it's as much about over-editing as it is about CBum not really looking all that different in the back double biceps at Prague compared to his classic physique look at the Olympia. At least that's my opinion. He did come in fuller in the lower body, but when it came to his back, he lost ground, especially against Martin Fitzwater. His Prague Pro back wasn't anything different than his back in Classic. In fact, I'd even say he's looked better from the back in Classic in the past, like in 2020 or 2022. But that's a different topic. The point is, my prediction couldn't be fully accurate because I improved his back, while his actual back in Prague was very similar to his Classic physique. As for Mass Monster CBum on the right, that might actually be too much for what CBum could realistically achieve with his back genetics, even after multiple off-seasons in the open division. Next is the back lat spread, and Chris had a different execution at Prague compared to his classic physique look last year. This isn't a classic physique mandatory pose, so he hadn't focused on it much before. However, on stage at Prague, I think he did a great job with this pose. For the first time in this comparison, I actually think I underestimated his potential in this look with my Photoshop. While he doesn't have the same dryness and cuts from Classic, his back looks fuller and wider in his real Prague Pro version here in the middle. In my opinion, his back lat spread was actually a stronger pose for him than the back double. As for Mass Monster CBum on the right, that's on a whole other level, but this time it doesn't seem like something he couldn't realistically achieve. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Next is the side triceps pose, which was the one I was least impressed by Chris Bumstead at the Prague Pro, mainly because of the different execution he chose. This is another pose that's not a mandatory in Classic, but it's one Chris has hit before on stage in Classic, despite many experts on social media claiming we've never seen him hit it before Prague. I didn't like how he crouched down on his abs in Prague. Maybe doing a vacuum like in Classic wouldn't have been ideal either, but I think a similar execution as before, with his far shoulder turned slightly more to the front, would have worked better in my opinion. As for Mass Monster CBum, while the dramatic size difference isn't as obvious here as in the other poses, his execution in this pose was more turned to the side, which didn't really show off his width and thickness. Still, it would definitely be an insane look. Next is the abs and thighs pose. This was one I didn't like too much from CBum at the Prague Pro. Now, of course, he looked incredible, don't get me wrong, but I'm holding him to the Chris Bumstead level in my critique. He's never had the most detailed abs, and in the open they looked even less defined than in Classic. Of course, he always has the vacuum option, which looks insane, but I want to focus on the actual abs and thighs execution. He hit this pose more from the side in Prague, likely because his obliques looked harder than his abs, but I still would have preferred a straight-on stance. Compared to my Prague prediction on the left, I think I was pretty close with this one. And compared to Mass Monster CBum on the right, he'd need to make significant progress to achieve that look. However, I don't think his abs would look as good after one or more full off seasons in the open division. Finally, the most muscular pose. In my opinion, Chris at Prague didn't look too different from when he hits this pose in Classic. In my Prague Pro Photoshop prediction on the left, I slightly increased his volume across the whole physique, and it looks a bit too much in comparison to his actual physique. As for Mass Monster CBum, it's definitely impressive, but probably not too realistic for CBum if I'm being 100% honest with you guys. Let me know in the comments below if you think he could achieve such a look after competing multiple years in the open division. At Prague, he also hit the crab variation, which looked better, but I didn't have any clear pictures of him hitting this variation in Classic. In conclusion, I have a few main takeaways. First, my photoshopped versions do look great, so if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. However, it's also true that my Photoshop was a bit too optimistic. Chris Bumstead didn't improve much from his Classic look, aside from coming in a bit fuller at the cost of some cuts and details. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, like for the algorithm, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.